Programa Universitario de Estudios sobre Asia y África, UNAM, conectando Asia y África con América Latina.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. We are really happy to continue these conversations with women in the International Women's Day. So today we are having a very interesting conversation with the ambassador from Bangladesh to Mexico. First of all, I would like to welcome all of you on the name of National Autonomous University of Mexico and its University Program of Studies on Asia and Africa and its coordinator, Dr. Alicia Hiron. Please be welcome. We are very happy to be hearing these stories about women in diplomacy. So today, Dr. Ana Elena Gonzalez will be having a conversation with Ambassador Abida Islam. She's Ambassador of Bangladesh to Mexico. Dr. Ana Elena, welcome, and the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Vania, for this presentation, and thank you to Professor Alicia Giron for the invitation. It is always a pleasure to collaborate with UNAM's program for the study of Asia and Africa with such wonderful initiatives such as this to establish dialogues with different ambassadors. And in my case, it is a great honor to welcome Ambassador Abida Islam, the ambassador of Bangladesh in Mexico. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about her before starting the conversation properly. She's a career diplomat, and she joined the Bangladesh Foreign Service in 1995. She has been ambassador to Mexico since 2021, having formerly served as ambassador to the Republic of Korea. It is an honor to have you here with us, Ambassador, and there are many things that we wish to know from you and from your country, the country you represent, but especially regarding women and girls, young girls. No? So the first question I would like to ask you regards the economic empowerment initiatives that the Bangladeshi government may have implemented in order to stimulate women to pursue careers in diplomacy and international affairs. Are there any economic initiatives?
Thank you for your question. Good morning, esteemed guests, members of the faculty, and dear students. I extend my heartfelt gratitude to Asia and Africa Studies at UNAM, particularly Coordinator Professor Alicia Hiron, for the gracious invitation to this event, Feminism in the Global South, Challenges and Opportunities, commemorating the International Women's Day 2024. And it's a privilege to engage in today's discourse on feminist movements for women's rights and equality in Bangladesh. I extend special appreciation to Dr. Ana Elena Gonzalez for her adept moderation. Ladies and gentlemen, before addressing Ms. Gonzalez's query, I would like to highlight Bangladesh's remarkable journey towards women empowerment. Over its 53 years of independence, the nation has made significant strides in fostering gender equality across education, healthcare, workforce participation, and political engagement. And Mexico's strides in gender equality in politics inspire other nations, positioning it as a leader in the global push for gender equality and social justice. However, Bangladesh also shines in female political empowerment with significant ministerial roles and the world's longest-serving female prime minister. Despite making 7th globally in women's political empowerment, challenges persist in achieving full gender parity in parliamentary representation and cabinet portfolios. Bangladesh's constitution since 1972 has institutionalized women's political rights, yet cultural and institutional barriers remain, demanding ongoing efforts to foster inclusivity in politics. When considering careers in diplomacy and international relations, Economic empowerment initiatives are vital for promoting gender equality and enhancing diversity. Bangladesh has demonstrated significant progress in this area with targeted efforts to empower women to pursue professions historically dominated by men. However, Bangladesh has yet to adopt a focused policy solely dedicated to encouraging women to pursue careers in diplomacy and international relations. Nevertheless, a substantial number of female students are studying international relations in various universities across Bangladesh. Despite the absence of a specific policy, the growing interest and participation of women in this field indicate a promising trend towards greater gender inclusivity in diplomatic and international arenas. More women are now joining the Foreign Service in Bangladesh compared to 2 or 3 decades ago when we joined the Foreign Service. In terms of education and training programs, Bangladesh prioritizes education as cornerstone of empowerment, and tailored education and training programs are offered to equip women with skills and knowledge necessary for diplomatic careers. These programs encompass diverse areas such as foreign policy analysis, negotiation skills, conflict resolution, and multilateral diplomacy, provided by institutions which includes universities, foreign affairs academies, and diplomatic training institutes. Acknowledging financial constraint as barriers to women's educational and professional endeavors, Bangladesh universities occasionally, in a limited scale, I must say, partner with counterparts abroad to offer scholarship, grants, and fellowships tailored for women pursuing studies in international relations. These initiatives cover tuition fees, travel expenses, and living costs, enabling women from diverse backgrounds to access education and training opportunities. Bangladesh also facilitates networking and mentorship opportunities for women in diplomacy, connecting them with experienced diplomats and professionals. Mentorship programs pair aspiring female diplomats with seasoned officials to provide guidance and support in career advancement. Also, there are advocacy campaigns, seminars, and conferences which are organized in Bangladesh to raise awareness about gender equality, including in diplomacy. Collaborating with civil society organizations and government agencies, these initiatives aim to address biases and stereotypes and advocate for women's inclusion in decision-making processes. Furthermore, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Bangladesh provides practical exposures, experience in diplomatic affairs through internships. These opportunities enable women to develop skills, build networks, and gain insights into diplomacy and negotiation. The government also implements policy reforms to eliminate discriminatory practices and promote women's participation in diplomacy. This includes gender-sensitive policies, quotas, and affirmative action, measures to increase women's representation in diplomatic roles and leadership positions. Also, there are research institutions and think tanks. They also study gender dynamics in diplomacy, identifying barriers and best practices to promote gender equality. We believe that these initiatives aim to create a more inclusive and diverse diplomatic corps, leveraging women talents and perspectives to address global challenges and advance national interest, contributing to broader goals of gender equality, social justice, as well as sustainable development. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ambassador. It sounds really interesting, and it reveals that the government has done a lot. Well, the government and different instances, not like education and other initiatives have been pursued and for this very, very necessary goal that we are all aspiring to. The second question refers precisely to education. How has education played a role to prepare women for leadership positions within diplomatic circles? Because one thing is an entry level of inclusion, but the other is reaching the highest echelons of diplomatic activity.
Of course, education is very important, and like other countries in the world, in Bangladesh as well, education plays a vital, pivotal role in empowering women and preparing them for leadership positions within diplomatic circles. Although historically the nation faced gender disparities in education, concerted efforts have been made to bridge this gap, and it resulted in significant progress over the years. For instance, access to education, Bangladesh has made substantial advancement in improving access to education for girls and women. Initiatives like Girls Stipend Program that gives incentives to families to send their daughters to schools, leading to increased enrollment rates among girls. This expanded access to education that has provided women with the foundation to pursue their higher studies and subsequently leadership roles. Government is also focused on enhancing skill development and education. It equips women with the knowledge, skills, and confidence necessary to excel in leadership positions. Through educational investment, Bangladeshi women have gained proficiency in disciplines crucial for diplomatic engagement, such as diplomacy, international relations, and languages. Additionally, education fosters critical thinking, problem solving, and communication skills, which are very essential for effective participation in diplomacy. And we believe that education also breaks stereotypes and cultural barriers, because education challenges traditional gender norms and stereotypes that empowers women to defy societal expectations and assert themselves in traditionally male-dominated domains, including diplomacy. By acquiring higher level of education, women in Bangladesh gain the confidence and determination to challenge cultural barriers and discriminatory practices that enabling them to pursue leadership roles with conviction. Education also provides women with valuable networking opportunities, critical for advancing in diplomatic careers. Universities and educational institutions serve as platforms for women to build professional connections, engage with mentors, and access resources, facilitating their entry into diplomatic circles. Networking also enables women to navigate the complexities of international relations and diplomacy, opening doors to leadership roles. Educated women are better equipped to advocate for gender-inclusive policies and represent women's interest in diplomatic forums. It also equips women with insights into global issues like human rights and development agendas, enabling them to effectively advocate for gender equality, women's rights, and social justice internationally. Their education provides them with the knowledge and credibility to influence policy decisions, as well as shaping the diplomatic agendas. Educated women also serve as role models and inspiration for future generations of women leaders. By breaking the barriers and ascending to leadership positions in diplomacy, they inspire other women to pursue education and aspire to leadership roles. These role models create a ripple effect, fostering a culture of empowerment and leadership among women in Bangladesh and beyond. Therefore, education has empowered women in Bangladesh for leadership roles in diplomacy by increasing their access, developing their skills, breaking stereotypes, facilitating networking, enabling advocacy, and providing role models. With continued emphasis on education and gender equality, the contribution of women to diplomatic leadership will continue to flourish, we believe, and advancing Bangladesh's diplomatic efforts. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you very much. This is really very interesting because of the involvement of concerted action, as you explained, from government and, in this case, education through many different angles, and always going against the grain of tradition, not in the bad sense, no? When there are limiting beliefs about the capabilities of women and how far they can reach. Well, another question is regarding social initiatives or movements that have emerged in Bangladesh to promote gender equality and to encourage the political participation of women. All of these government and university are involved, but beyond the walls of universities, what movements do you consider important in this respect?
There are a lot of women's movements in Bangladesh. Actually, women's historically in Bangladesh were involved, in many countries in the world, traditionally in the household chores. During British Mughal period, they have a limited access. Only those who are in the top notch in the society, they have limited access to education. In the British period, we saw that a very few women they are coming to the public spheres and were educated. But in the Pakistani period, when we are in the part of Pakistan, we saw women, they were actively participating in social and political movements. And during our war of liberation, women actively fought in our war of liberation. So they have made their place in the society, for 6 or 7 decades ago. So in Bangladesh, there are numerous social initiatives and movements that have emerged over the years to promote gender equality and encourage women's political participation. And these initiatives have been crucial in addressing the systematic barriers and cultural norms that have historically marginalized women in both the public and private spheres. Bangladesh has a very vibrant civil society that boasts numerous women's rights organizations leading the charge of, for gender equality. Prominent groups are like I know Shalish Kendro, that is in Bangla. In English it is called ASK. They are pivotal in combating gender discrimination and violence against women. And there are similar organizations like Nari Pokho, Nari means women. There are Bangladesh National Women's Lawyer Association, Bangladesh Women's Health Coalition, Bangladesh Women Foundation, Bangladesh Women's Chamber of Commerce and Industry. I'm only quoting those the names are in English because in Bangla probably will not understand. There's also Bangladesh Institute of Human Rights, Bangladesh Legal Aid and Service Trust, the acronym is BLAST. So these key organizations advocates for women's rights, influencing policies and legislation through lobbying and awareness campaigns. They also offer vital legal aid to women affected by gender-based violence, guiding them through the legal process and promoting accountability. These organizations are vital for raising awareness about gender equality, hosting workshops, seminars, and media campaigns to educate the public and challenge the societal norms. And their resilience and grassroots activism embody Bangladesh's commitment to a more just and equitable society. So various campaigns have been launched to encourage women's participation in politics, both in local and national levels. And these campaigns often involve training programs, workshops, advocacy efforts aimed at empowering women to enter politics, run for office, and engage in decision-making process. Organizations like National Democratic Institute and the United Nations Development Program, UNDP, they have supported such initiatives. Bangladesh has also implemented a quota system to ensure women's representation in local government bodies such as Union Parishad and Upazila Parishad. These are in Bangla, the name of the local government. And there are certain percentage of seats are reserved for women, which are significantly increased their political participation at the local level. This system has provided women with the opportunity to gain leadership experience and contribute to community development. For women's empowerment programs, the government, and there are a lot of non-governmental organizations, we call NGOs, they have implemented women's empowerment programs aimed at improving their socioeconomic status and political agency. This program often include initiatives such as microfinance, skill training, education, and healthcare services. And these enable women to become more self-reliant, confident, and active participant in their communities. There are also youth-led movements advocating for gender equality and women's rights. These have gained momentum in Bangladesh. Platforms like social media, which is very popular nowadays, they have provided a space for young activists to organize, raise awareness, and mobilize support for gender-sensitive issues. These movements often challenge traditional gender norms and call for greater inclusivity and representation of women in all spheres of society. Bangladesh has made significant strides in enacting laws and policies to protect women's rights and promote gender equality. Reforms have been made in areas such as marriage, inheritance, domestic violence, and sexual harassment to provide better legal recourse for women who are facing discrimination as well as abuse. A good number of organizations have been instrumental in advocating for these legal reforms. Legalization empowers women to combat gender-based violence and protect their rights and safety. And we have a number of acts and laws for that. Giving as an example is that there are Guardians and Wards Act 1890, since 1890. There is a Child Marriage Restraint Act since 1929, but we have amended the act as well. There's a Muslim Personal Law, Dissolution of Muslim Marriages, Muslim Family Law Ordinance 1961, Family Courts Act, Dowry Provision Acts. I don't know whether you know what is dowry is. There are also Cruelty to Women, Deterrent Punishment Ordinance in 1963, Domestic Violence, Child Marriage Provision Rules, we have amended in 2018 again. So there is also another law against acid, deoxyribonucleic acid DNA rules that we have introduced in 2018. And there's also another one is Suppression of Violence Against Women and Children Ordinance 2020. But the key legislation against women are Domestic Violence Prevention and Protection, Amendment to the Citizenship Act, Legal Services Aid. And there is also acts like, human trafficking, deterrence and suppression, acid prevention. And we have a national women's policy that was introduced in 2011 to look into the interest of women as well. And there are various organizations that offer leadership training programs tailored specifically for women who are aspiring to enter politics or take on leadership roles in their communities. And these programs equip women with the necessary skills, knowledge, and confidence to navigate the challenges they may encounter and effectively advocate for their rights as well as interest. Media campaigns I have mentioned before as well. And media campaign and public awareness initiatives play a very important role in challenging stereotypes, promoting positive role models, and changing attitudes towards gender equality. Through television programs, radio shows, talk shows, social media campaigns, and community events. Efforts are made to raise awareness about women's rights, encourage gender-sensitive behaviors, and foster a culture of respect and equality. And these initiatives and movements collectively contribute to create a more inclusive and equitable society where women have equal opportunities to participate in decision-making processes, access to resources, and fulfill their potentials. While significant progress have been made, ongoing efforts are essential to address the remaining challenges and ensure that gender equality becomes a reality for all in Bangladesh. Thank you.
Excellent, thank you. Thank you very much. Such a diverse ways of approaching the need that we have for inclusion and creating an equitable society. So it sounds like a very well orchestrated, very well organized effort from many different fronts, which is a big challenge, especially for countries with a large population, such as Bangladesh and Mexico. No?
Yes.
This is a more personal question, Ambassador. How do you yourself live this? How do you inspire young girls to pursue diplomatic careers or around you to your job, your diplomatic job around the world surely encounters young women and girls that may benefit from your own experience. Is that the case?
Thank you for your questions. In Bangladesh, the landscape of diplomacy, it has undergone significant transformation over the past 5 decades. Our first female diplomat, she joined the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Bangladesh in 1972, immediately after the independence. And it marked a pivotal moment in the country's diplomatic history. And this groundbreaking journey continued and gained significant momentum in the mid-90s, when the 1995 intake of career diplomats comprised 25% women, including myself. That was the first time. Before that, it was only probably in a batch of 7, there's only one female diplomat, 1 or 2. Ms. Mahmouda Haq Choudhury, she was the country's first female ambassador in 1996. And when I commenced my diplomatic voyage more than 28 years ago, the representation of women in this field was notably scarce. There was a huge encouragement from my father, a member of Bangladesh Civil Service, but it was tempered by caution from his peers in the Foreign Ministry, who warned the demanding nature of diplomatic life, because when they heard that I have joined the Foreign Service, before joining, they told my father that it's a very demanding service, and please caution your daughter that she may join other employment services or cadres. We call them cadres. There's different branches of the civil service. We call them cadres. Other cadres of the Bangladesh Civil Service, because she is married and she cannot cope up with that demanding nature. Because, of course, and they were right, because this profession often demands working beyond conventional office hours. There are unpredictable schedules and occasional weekend obligations. And when we joined the Foreign Service, we heard tales of our predecessors who departed the ministry because of this challenging nature of this profession. And at that time, it was not uncommon. Nevertheless, a notable transformation has taken place today, evidenced by a significantly more balanced gender ratio among new recruits. And this shift underscores women's growing readiness to confront the intricacies of diplomacy and undertake multifaceted roles. Moreover, women are venturing into professions such as police, medicine, defense, journalism, business, politics, and many more, which are share similar demands and complexities, even more in some cases. inspiring girls to pursue ambassadorial careers, it necessitates addressing both the allure and the challenges of diplomatic life. Because we only see the fulfillment part, the rewarding part of diplomacy, but it comes with its share of demands. Among these challenges is the frequent relocation experienced by diplomats, impacting family life and children's education. In Bangladesh, diplomats typically relocate every 3 years, and it requires adaptation to new culture, educational system, and social environments. This upheaval can create feelings of isolation, depression, and disconnection. And recently, we see a lot of our children, our colleagues' children, they're going through depression because they cannot connect with any place. They don't belong to anywhere, not their country of origin or all the country where they're posted now. So it is a kind of a difficult stage, not only for the parents, but also for the children. To inspire girls towards ambassadorial careers, it is imperative to furnish them with this holistic understanding of both the rewards and the sacrifices involved in this profession. And leveraging our experience as seasoned diplomats, we share personal anecdotes, illuminating the nuances of diplomatic life, from the delights of cultural immersion to the complexities of frequent relocations. By providing insight into these facts, we believe that we empower the girls to make an informed decision about their career paths. And through the implementation of these strategies, we not only inspire and empower Bangladeshi girls to pursue ambassadorial career, but also contribute to cultivating a more inclusive and diverse future for diplomacy. And by equipping them with the requisite knowledge, support, and encouragement to navigate the complexities of diplomatic life, we enable them to emerge as effective bearers, leaders, and representatives on the global stage. And through mentorship, education, and awareness building endeavors, we lay the groundwork for a new generation of diplomats poised to enrich the diplomatic landscape and foster global cooperation and understanding. Thank you.
That is fantastic. Thank you very much, Ambassador. I think, Vanya, that we have time for some more conversation. Well, yes, there are several ideas that come to mind, but one that I would like to address is regarding the education of young men, because this equitable society requires the participation of both men and women. So can you tell us a little bit about the sensitization of men, or the re-education in a way of men towards trying to diminish at least the reaction that your father's colleagues had, saying, no, she cannot do it because she's a woman, and men also need to be sort of trained in.
Actually, when we joined the Foreign Service 28 years ago, at that time there was not a proper restroom for women because there were very few women. And we were, in our batch, there were 4 women in a group of 16. So it was 25% of women for the first time joined the Foreign Service. So after we joined, there was a proper restroom and everything. And I thought that, our first impression was that our, senior colleagues, they were also a little bit puzzled how to deal with, a bunch of women. But I think with more women joining the Foreign Service, the culture gradually changed. But we didn't feel any kind of discrimination during work or any places, the Foreign Ministry. And they were quite supportive. They're very supportive to our work, and the working environment, I must say that was excellent. But the problem was if your family is not supportive, that may create problem, because in foreign affairs, you cannot leave the work for next day. Some works has to be done immediately. And you have to, like journalism, if a news is, is created somewhere, you have to go and immediately address that. It's the same with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs as well. If something is happening, you have to address that immediately. You cannot wait for the next date and the next office hour to come. So sometimes it creates, inconvenience for your family members. And if you don't get the support from them, then it is kind of difficult. But I must say that I was very lucky since we have an environment of, of bureaucracy in my family, because my mother, she was a worker, she was an NGO worker. My father was in the civil service. So already I had the environment in my family, and also in my family of my, in my husband's family, I also had the same. So I had a very conducive environment, but there are families who don't accept that kind of, schedules, and they want like of a regular schedule for their, daughter-in-law, 9 to 5 or something. And teaching profession may be the best for the women. It used to be like, that was the traditional belief in Bangladesh, because it is from 8 to 3 or 3:30, especially for the school or the colleges. And after that, you have time to take care of your family, your children, your husband, all this stuff. But that notion has changed dramatically. And as I told you that in Bangladesh, though we are a Muslim-dominated country and over 90% of our population is Muslim, you'll see women are working everywhere, in defense, of course, in bureaucracy. They're becoming, also they're, pursuing non-traditional professions. They're becoming mountaineers. They're riding bikes. They're, involved very much in sports, in footballs, in cricket. You'll see women everywhere. So I think that over the years, that perception of the society has changed, and now they're accepting women in all types of, professions and roles. Because more than 50% of our population is women. We are a population of more than 170 million in a very small geographical area. And if we don't have women in different professions, then we cannot have a development which will be sustainable. We cannot have socioeconomic development. You cannot lock them, more than 0.5% of your population inside the house and expect that your country will go or advance or progress. So I think that also the demographical factors also contributed to change the perception of the society. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes, this makes me think of the caring professions that are normally ascribed or associated with women, such as nursing or looking after the elderly, teaching. You mentioned teaching as well. And they say that in order to transform the way things are working, we need to reevaluate those professions that are very crucial for the safeguarding of society in general, and they're usually thought of as second rate or not important enough, low salaries, etc. No? And this also reminds me of another big topic of our time, which is sustainability, no? Ecology and sustainability, and the feminine approach to the preservation of resources and all that has been very significant, coming from Southeast Asia in particular, and the resources that you have in Bangladesh, I suppose, like rivers that are undergoing cleaning and a revival in that sense. I don't know whether you can tell us a little bit about the landscape and the role of women in recovering those areas.
Landscape and role of women covering. Sorry, can you say the question
Yes.
again?
Like ecological rescue, and if women have participated in that, but in general, because in some countries, this ecological rescue and sustainability is connected to women suddenly coming into prominence and acting in ways that are different from the exploitation of resources, of the land, of trees, and that sort of thing. I don't know whether this rings a bell or... Yeah.
Bangladesh is one of the largest delta in the world, and we have more than 300 to 400 rivers crisscrossing the whole country. And sometimes there is a saying in Bangladesh that women are like the rivers in Bangladesh. They are very simple and go along with, very easy to go along with. Women have been, from traditionally, they were involved in agriculture, and more women are now involved in agriculture. Historically also, whenever we are a rice-eating country, so when there is a, rice cutting ceremony and everything, women used to, help the men and help them drying the rice, and they work in the husking mills, to shaping the rice and everything. And they were very much involved in that. And now even women are involved in putting the rice seeds in the plant, in the fields as well. You can see that lots of women with microcredit and everything, they were also involved in agricultural production of different things and earning their livelihood with that. They're making, producing vegetables, different kind of fruits, passion fruits, seasonal foods. So that women are very much involved with the agriculture traditionally and at present as well. Because there is since Bangladesh is a traditional society, people wants to go for government jobs. But the thing is that we don't have that much of vacancy for everyone in the government job. So they're pursuing small and medium enterprises that gives them, kind of financial empowerment. So in that case, agriculture comes first. And now what women are doing is that they're making, bringing out fibers from banana leaves. We, like Mexico, we also use fibers from jute plants. And they make saris and different things with that to diversify the products. And we see a lot of women there planting trees to save the environment. But what we see that Bangladesh is also a climate vulnerable country, and we are amongst the 10 most climate vulnerable countries in the world. When there is a climatic disasters, we see women, they were suffers almost most because, with the children, with the livestock and everything, there's a kind of more responsibility comes to the women. But we have seen that they have, addressed this kind of issues very well, so much. And what I must say that to maintain the ecology, the environment of our township or of our home, I think women plays a leading role. I know that more men takes agriculture as their profession, but in supporting role, we see women's everywhere in Bangladesh, especially in agriculture.
Excellent. Thank you very much. And Professor Alicia Giron would like to ask you something. Adelante, Alicia.
Well, thank you very much, Ana Elena. Yes, I was trying to see a global gender report of the World Economic Forum, and I found that it says in the page 29, is the report of 2023, in page 29 said that Bangladesh has the highest gender parity in Southern Asia. And yes. Bangladesh ranks 59 globally with a score of 72.2. And also it says that the country's trajectory is mostly characterized by continuing progress on political empowerment at 55.2% parity. And Bangladesh ranks 7 globally on this subindex. So, and also it said that it has had a woman head of state for 29.3 years out of the last 50 years since the democracy has arrived. So I think that these numbers explain why woman parity is very important, and also education, because they continue, but I'm not going to read everything. They continue the education. Another thing that I would like to say is that in economy, Bangladesh is one of the example of woman economic empowerment, especially by microfinance. And we must remember that Professor Yunus, they gave the Nobel Award. So that was the thing that I would like to say, because we are very happy, Abida, that you, as Ambassador of Bangladesh, accept the invitation of our program. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you so much, Ms. Alicia Hiron. The microcredit actually transformed women's lives and reduced the poverty in Bangladesh through their access to capital, because microcredit programs, they break barriers for women by offering capital for income generating activities like farming, agriculture, and retail business. And they have economically empowered the women. Women gain financial independence, boosting confidence and decision-making power in their households. And microcredits also lift many Bangladeshi women and families out of poverty, improving their living standards and resilience to economic shocks. And there's a huge social impact of this, because participation in microcredit programs makes women more active in their communities. They created fostering their confidence, leadership skills, and social cohesions. And by challenging gender norms, microcredit empowers marginalized Bangladeshi women, inspiring future generations toward economic independence and leadership. So microcredit has been a powerful tool for socio-economic development in Bangladesh, with women at the forefront of this transformative process. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes, because Bangladesh was an example of women economic empowerment, and especially for Latin America, especially during the 90s and until now, the microfinance program for women is very important. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Is there anything else that you would like to add, Ambassador? It has been a pleasure listening to you, but there might be something that you would like to tell us from your experience so far in Mexico, and the way Mexico could improve its chances of a better gender equality.
I think that what is missing between Bangladesh and Mexico is a dialogue, because since Mexico is also a leader in gender equality, especially in politics, and and in Bangladesh since 1991, we have women political leadership in Bangladesh. The Prime Minister is women, or the leader of opposition is women. And we have a women speaker now as well. Women are holding important portfolios in the cabinet. So I believe that there should be more dialogues and exchanges between Bangladesh and Mexico, and we can learn from each other from their best practices, and that will enrich both our countries. But I think that is kind of a missing, and we really appreciate your, that the feminist component that you have in your foreign policy. I think we can also learn a lot about it, because we don't have a feminist foreign policy. But I think we should have more exchanges, more such dialogues, and we know each other's, best practices and strengths and weaknesses, so that we can advance the women interest in our country as well as in Mexico.
Thank you very much. Alicia, would you like to add anything to this presentation?
No, well, we have learned a lot, and of course, it's very useful, all this conference, and we will put it in our social nets, and I'm very glad. Really, I learned a lot, and especially because sometimes we don't, we always are in China or in India, but countries like Bangladesh, we just forget it. And I think it was very important that our ambassador of Bangladesh in Mexico accepted our invitation, and then we are going to put it in the nets, and of course for our students of the Diplomado on Asian Studies is going to be very helpful. Thank you very much, Abima.
It was a pleasure. Great honor for me for this invitation. Thank you, Ms. Alicia Hiron, and also Ana Elena and Vania. And if you have any further question, please reach out to me, and I'll be here to, assist you. Thank you so much for the invitation. I'm greatly honored. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And with this, we are concluding today's conversatorio, today's conversation. In the hope that this is the first of many exchanges between our two countries. We're very grateful, Ambassador, and also thank you to the program, UNAM's program for the study of Asia and Africa for this initiative. And we are on our way to the 8th of March, which is International Women's Day. And this kind of stimulating talk and sharing of the successes that they have had in Bangladesh is very, very inspiring, and we are very grateful to you for presenting this to us. Thank you to everybody who is here with us today, and we'll see you in the next one next week, I think. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Muchas gracias.
Muchas gracias.
Podcast dirigido y producido por el Programa Universitario de Estudios sobre Asia y África de la UNAM. Dirección académica, Alicia Hiron. Dirección ejecutiva y técnica, José Luis Maya. Producción técnica, Gabriela Gallegos. Las opiniones expresadas por los autores no necesariamente reflejan la postura de este podcast.